Hi, my name is Alejandro Pérez Pérez, and this is the AI podcast. Every week, you will have one disruptive aspect of technology and artificial intelligence for the time you drink a cup of coffee. Today, I'm alone. And today, this is the last episode I will do alone during this session. You know that by the middle of June, more or less, I will finish this season. I hope you enjoy. It has been one of the largest season ever in my podcast, so I'm super happy of all the guests and all the episodes I have done. You will have more episodes with super interesting guests, so I hope you enjoy. And today I will talk a bit about how to implement artificial intelligence for startups. And maybe you don't know, but I have been working with startups during the last weeks and months, actually because I have been part of an incubator program with one of my projects, which is actually a startup whose name is Hola Chatbot. So in Spanish, Hello Chatbot, which is a startup for a chatbot with AI and more things that I will explain you maybe later on. Finally, I'm able to do something with that because at this moment we are validating, we are working on that with my colleague Isabel, that you knew a couple of episodes ago. But well, I will talk a bit about how I assume startups could benefit from AI, even though I have been already talking about how enterprises could benefit from AI. But startups, as they are a bit different, I think they can benefit from AI a little bit differently. And actually, they have more things to get to think about. So, the first thing I would say is that AI would be something like a copilot, another co founder of the startup. Because if you don't know, startups usually are founded by really a small amount of people, like maybe, I don't know, one, two, three, five. It's almost weird startups with more of five people in the founding team. Actually, usually it's around two, three. And most of the times, these people are maybe engineers or marketing experts or whatever, but they don't know about everything. You know, when you are founding a company, you need to think about legal, about finance, about technology, about a lot of different things. So it's very common that the founding team, doesn't know everything. So AI is super interesting because it gives you superpowers, I would say, for continuing and developing the first MVP. So the first thing I would say is that use AI. It's super interesting, but also think about how to use it carefully. So I don't know if you know Lovable, for example. This is a very interesting AI that works with everything related to creating application websites, SaaS, really easily with a prompt. I like it. I will put this on in the description. I have tested a bit. I need to have more time to test it. But the idea is like, as you, for example, create an image with ChatGPT, you could create an application, a first approach of the application maybe you want to test or validate with AI. So there are more and more applications like that. I know this is not the only one. There are others. I think there's going to be even more applications that maybe build small systems, small uh, services that you could use for testing. And yeah, I think it's super interesting to use it. So this is the first thing: use it, but use it carefully. That's the my first advice, because I have seen many times companies, even big companies, but also startups and small groups that go directly to, for example, ChatGPT with very important data, relevant data, personal data, even. And then, if, for example, the group, the company, or the users and you are in the European Union, for instance, yeah, you're having a problem because with personal data, you need to be strict on the GDPR, for example, and all the regulations of data, and also be think about ethics, which is also very interesting and relevant, right? So think about the use of this personal data of your customers, for instance. So be careful about that. I'm sure that you want to do your best, and I'm sure also that building a startup is important to be quickly and to do MVPs and validate as soon as possible. But maybe it's worth it to wait 1 or 2 days until the validation of a legal person, just in case to avoid problems in the future. Yeah. And this is very important. Think about that. Also, please don't be obsessed about the technology you are using. And this is something I have tested on me because my startup works with chatbots and AI agents, which is something that it's very trendy nowadays. But I realized that I was focusing more on the idea on building chatbots with AI for different customers, which is okay. This it could be a good approach. But what I needed really, and what I will do now, is think differently, think the opposite way, think about specific problems that I want to solve with technology, because it could be even chatbots or another stuff, but it's better to go that direction and not be strict on, okay, I have this technology, what I can do with this technology, and think the opposite way. Think, okay, I have and I know these problems of these specific users, so can I solve them with this or this or this technology or techniques? And if the answer is yes, you have a project, you have a product, you have an MVP, you have a demo, and then you have a startup, right? So think about that. Think that way. Don't be obsessed on the technology you are using. Don't be obsessed on AI. AI is just a tool. It's a very powerful tool, but it's like, I don't know, maybe if you have, I don't know, saws, for example, and you see a lot of trees you need to cut. That no, don't think that way. Tools are very relevant and very necessary and very interesting, but this is only a tool. So the important thing, if you're building a startup, is building a product that solves a problem. I repeat this a lot of times also for me, right? This is like a little bit pedagogical for me as well. So then the next thing I would say is that usually I'm asked as a consultant, I'm asked many times, Alejandro, is it better to use this or this artificial intelligence? Such as, for example, is it better to use ChatGPT or Perplexity or Gemini? And I know that there are thousands of reports on LinkedIn, on the media, on internet talking about this, saying that for this specific use case, it's better to use this, and for this one, it's better to use this. And I agree with them, with most of them actually, and I it's understandable that the way the LLM is trained, it will change a bit the use cases that it's better for. But at the end of the day, for most of the cases, most of the startups, most of the projects, most of the people, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's much better to use one LLM, one AI model. You are like used to that, such as, for example, ChatGPT for everything, and really be the best working with that. And it's better to do that way that trying to understand which is the best option, the best approach. And I'm saying that because, I mean, maybe you won't find it ever. And also, you're going to waste a lot of time on something that it's not maybe like something you can see, like from the outputs. Maybe it's something super small, the difference between the first output and the other one. And maybe for the MVP and the first approach of your project on the product, it's enough. And maybe whenever you have more customers or everything is working well, maybe you would have enough budget to hire a person, a consultant, a developer to build the best option, the most efficient way. But please don't be blocked about which model should I use, why, what is maybe the least expensive. And as I say, this is super important, and there are a lot of reports talking about that. But please don't waste your time on that, because it's just a waste of time. As I said, maybe just do your numbers, see if what you are building it's enough, the project is enough, and then go for it. And then you will maybe find more efficient ways to do it in the future. But please also think about security, what I said before, the security and personal data and all that things. Then also thinking about trainings and thinking about um, what a co-founder needs to know about AI. And I would say that nowadays, at least one of the co-founders of any startup in 2025 needs to know a bit about AI. I think this is like, I don't know, for example, finance or legal aspects. Maybe no one of the any of the people in the founding group is an expert on legal. This is super normal. I mean, maybe one in some cases, but this is not necessary because there are people working with legal aspects that maybe are going to build your legal whatever around your company, right? But it's important that at least one of the members of the team knows about the, I don't know, taxes, legal things a bit, just in order to talk about the expert, right? So the same with AI. I guess that nowadays is super relevant that at least one of the people in the team knows and understand a bit the limits of the AI. And of course, if you are building an AI system, it's much more relevant. But at least I think you need that one of the people of the team knows the limits of AI, what you can do and what you cannot do or with AI, which is not relevant sometimes. Also, the costs of AI, the limits, and when I say limit, it's more about ethical limits. So, for example, hallucinations, biases, what you don't want an AI to be to do, and where you need a human in the loop thinking about, okay, what I'm building, it's ethical, it's secure, it's working. This is necessary, and I think what I'm seeing is that almost in every team nowadays, this is what is happening. But if in your team you don't have anyone, I would recommend you to be trained a bit. Maybe talk to me. I can help you with that, or with other people that maybe work with AI, with ethical guidelines of AI. But yeah, be sure about that because this is a very important issue. And also, I would say the last thing is talking about data. And if you listen the episode I published a couple of weeks ago about how to use AI for big companies, and if you listen that, you will remember that I have been talking a lot about the use of data and how important is having good data for having good AI. So with the startups, it's more or less the same. But I know that the startups are usually in a rush, working with many different things in many different computers, cloud systems. So I know it's difficult, but I really recommend you to think about this data because maybe what you think it's your business model, it's not. And I mean, for example, thinking about, I don't know, Uber, for example, or big companies that a couple of years ago there were startups, for example. If you think about that, maybe the first model you have in mind is that they have a commission of any trip the like the final user requires, right? So more or less most of these applications work that way. But what if they have all the data of all the trips all the users have done during years? Don't you think this is valuable? Don't you think this could be sold to, imagine, for example, a public sector, an administration, a company, just in order to create business? Yes, the answer is obviously yes. Of course, you need to anonymize this data, secure this data, do the statistics of this data. But these reports are gold nowadays, and these data are gold nowadays. And if you are building whatever you are building, and you are going to have potentially a lot of data, keep it, keep it. That this is like one of the best things. Keep it because you don't know that maybe in 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, maybe this is going to be one of the main business models of your startup. Maybe it is, and you don't know it. Maybe because you are focusing about in the application, in how the final user is going to use and the user experience and all that, which is super necessary. But if you are keeping this data, even though you are not using that, maybe it will cost a bit of money because you need to have a cloud somewhere and storing the data, and maybe some people to keep this data a little bit clean and all of that. And maybe you think it's a waste of money, but you will have a lot of good vibes and good and happiness whenever you realize in a couple of years that, okay, now what you have is a lot of information that you could sell to companies, even maybe maybe you are the first company, you are going to be using this data for an AI, a forecast model for whatever, even for investors, for example, for showing, okay, so if I had these specific users during these months, maybe I can forecast the users I will have in 5 years if I continue that way. This is gold for a startup. But also, maybe you can sell that to competitors, or maybe you can sell that to public administrations or to other companies that maybe have other things in mind. So, for example, I don't know, if you are building, for example, you are building, you want to build a restaurant, for example. So imagine that you could buy data of the movements of citizens in a neighborhood. Maybe with that, you will see, okay, I need to buy this specific place for my restaurant because this is where everyone cross by. So imagine having this data. It's super useful. And this is a lot of money. So think about that. And now with that, I finish. I think I have talked a bit about many different aspects. Of course, there is like thousands of things. We could talk about data, about AI, about technology while talking about startups, because this is like one of the main things of a startup, working with technology. But yeah, I wanted to be short in time, just also for you to be quick, because I know that a startup entrepreneur it doesn't have a lot of time. So I hope this could be useful for this person. And at the end of the day, if you want more information, more specific use cases about AI, about startups, about whatever, you can contact me. As I said, this is the final episode I will be doing alone of this season. As far as I can say from now, maybe I will change my mind, but hopefully, well, this is my idea now. I'm recording this. It's April 2025, just for the context. But you will have a lot of episodes of interviews that are going to be super, super good. So continue seeing these episodes, because I think you are going to learn a lot from the episodes that are going to come. So hope you enjoy, and I think you are going to learn really a lot. But I am thinking about what to do in the next season, that it's going to be probable starting on fall, autumn, like September, October, more or less, 2025. So I'm thinking about that. So if you have ideas, you have perspectives you want me to talk about, guests that you think in mind, and also, of course, if there is any sponsor that wants to help me with that, I will be open to that, because as you can imagine, working with this podcast is a lot of time and money and effort I'm making and I'm putting in here, and I'm super happy working with this podcast, and it's going to continue. But I will be even happier if a company, a brand, someone wanted to sponsor one episode or part of the season. I would be super happy about that. So please contact me if you think about that, and you have ideas for making this project grow. So have a wonderful day. I will put the outro. Thank you very much for being here one more week. Please continue watching, because you are going to see super interesting interviews. Actually, the one next week is really, really great. So you will love it. And let's stay in touch. Have a wonderful day. Bye.